Hello everyone, my name is Master Steve, and welcome back to Age of Empires 2. Previously we took a look at the Bulgarians and how to play them. In this video we're going to take a look at the Burmese. The Burmese are a very situational civilization that have some viable late game options and easily some of the strongest infantry in the game, but they do not excel at anything in particular, and a lot of their units are very expensive. So we're going to start with kind of going over their early game eco and kind of what they can do well, and then kind of talk about what they can do very well in the late game. So the Burmese do not have an economic bonus that is applicable to them in the Dark Age. So you're going to be at your most vulnerable in the Dark Age. So make sure that you secure all your herdables and do not let your opponent steal any of them. You got to make sure you don't get lamed, keep your boars safe. And just make sure that you're getting a good feudal time overall. You got to make sure that you get to the feudal age nice and early, because you're going to be able to set yourself up for one of the best men-at-arms rushes in the feudal age. The Burmese have a lot of potential in the castle age and the imperial age, but early castle age is truly when they're at their best. So your best option when playing the Burmese is to go for a Dark Age rush, and if you manage to keep your militia alive, you'll potentially have access to the best men-at-arms of feudal age. One of the Burmese bonuses is their infantry get +1 attack starting in the feudal age, and another for each age after that. This means that if you manage to get forging in the first armor upgrade in the feudal age, your men-at-arms are easily some of the best in the game. You can go in and kill villagers super easily, and you don't need a high number of them to it's going to make it super easy for you to take out villagers. You don't need a high number of them to just take out one villager. You're just going to need 3 or 4 of them. So it's super, super nice. And you're going to be able to take out a lot of your opponent's buildings if you feel like it. If you have a large number of men-at-arms, if you start getting to like 10 or 12 of them, you can house your opponent quite easily, get rid of some eco buildings, stuff like that, and really cause them just a serious headache. So even though going for a fast casual is their best option, there certainly are some amazing options in the feudal age. I mean, men-at-arms are certainly their best option to go for, but I mean, the Burmese also do have a fairly good archery range. They have good options there. I mean, they're not bad. They're not top tier or anything. And they're stable units. They're still great. I mean, you got bloodlines and everything, so you can go for scouts if you feel like it. The Burmese do get their lumber camp upgrades for free. It's one of their bonuses, and it really helps set you up quite nicely in the feudal age. Now, I mean, keep in mind that when you hit feudal age, double bit axe is not really too much wood, so you're not saving too much. But, I mean, it does help you kind of set yourself up if you want to go for a second barracks and really start pumping up men-at-arms, or if you kind of built an archery range and wanted to go for an archer rush, you can certainly do that a lot easier with the saved wood. So it's not necessarily a bad bonus, but it's not necessarily great. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, when the Burmese reach the castle age, it is crucial that they have their game plan ready to go and an economy to back it up. The Burmese team bonus that makes them very user-friendly is they start with the game with all relics visible. So when the Burmese hit the castle age, they can go out and get as many relics as they want and set themselves up very nicely for the late game. The bonus is pretty useful, especially if you have like an Aztec ally or something, but in reality, in a standard 1v1 Arabia game, your opponent is not going to be too far behind you when it comes to going after the castle age unless you just had an amazing feudal rush. So really, it's a decent bonus, but are you going to want to go invest in a bunch of monks to go out and get those relics early castle age? I mean, it's kind of 50-50. Sometimes you're going to want to use your gold to go for some of your more expensive units, like they do have good battle elephants to go for, and the Arambai are at their best in castle age. But, I mean, if you do get those relics, fine, you're setting yourself up for the late game quite nicely. So it's just a matter of what your game plan is going to be. If you want to go for the relics, by all means do so. But don't really feel like you have to just because it's your bonus. And I have to really emphasize this for new players. Just because you can see all the relic locations at the start of the game does not mean you don't need to scout. I mean, you need to make sure you have most of the map explored so you can see where your opponent's resources are, what they might try, and kind of, plan out where they might go. So just because you can see the relics does not mean that you can just ditch your scout entirely. You got to make sure that you're keeping eyes on your opponent at all times. So, with that said, I mean, you can do whatever you want with the bonus, but really, it's not really what you want to be. It's not really something you got to rely on. So, the Burmese best option is probably going to be their Arambai in the Castle Age. The Arambai is their unique unit from the castle, and it's a unique cavalry archer that has a powerful dart attack with 17 attack, which is extremely high for a cavalry archer, but it's highly inaccurate, and the Burmese do not have access to Thumb Ring. So you kind of have this interesting scenario of you have a unit that can do some amazing damage, but is it going to hit its target? Probably not. So a Rambai are fantastic in early Castle Age in high numbers, which, I mean, that's, I can kind of go without saying anything's good in high numbers, but really, if you get a Rambai masked up, just the sheer amount of damage they can pump out, you can go in there and snipe your opponent's buildings and really cause some havoc. So that's when they're at their best, but the issue is that you can only create them from a castle, and if you want to mass them up quickly, you're probably going to want 2 castles, and that's 1,300 stone. So your economy is just going to be super strained with, whatever you want to go for. You got to keep everything balanced. You still got to keep your villager production. And you still need to remember you have good infantry options. So they have a ton of good units to go for. Their issue is it's a little difficult to transition between them because everything is so expensive. A Rambai costs a lot of wood and a lot of gold in terms of a cavalry archer unit. And they're just, they're good in early Castle Age, and that's it. When you get to late game Imperial Age, skirmishers and stuff, they'll take them out really easily. It's not even a competition. So just going to keep that in mind. And really, if you go for a Rambai, you got to make them count early. If you don't, you've wasted it. So the saved wood from free lumber camp upgrades kind of helps you mass up a Rambai a little bit. You probably have enough saved wood if you saved on double bit axe and the next saw upgrade. You probably have enough wood for about 5 a Rambai, but really that's not too much, and they do have kind of a sluggish creation time. So just kind of keep that in mind. They're certainly a strong option to go for, but you have to do early Castle Age, otherwise you've wasted them. So at this point you might be thinking, well, is there a reliable option for Burmese to go for? And the answer is actually yes. The Burmese battle elephants are actually some of the best that you can get. The Burmese unique tech Howdah gives their battle elephants +1 pierce armor, and the other unique tech mana per cavalry gives their cavalry +6 attack versus buildings. So battle elephants are already an interesting unit to go for in Castle Age because you only need like 5 or 6 of them to take out your opponent's town center. So if you decide to just mass up battle elephants and go right into your opponent's base, you can easily take out a lot of their buildings with super quickly and cause a lot of havoc that way. But your biggest issue with this is, while the battle elephants are good, it's expensive. Mana per cavalry and Howdah, they're 2 techs that you need to research to make them good. Those are super expensive. You're looking at over 1,000 resources total. So really, it's a decent option to have, but are you going to be able to get there? It really is going to depend on your economy. So just kind of keep that in mind. So by far the best option for the Burmese is going to be their infantry. They're always going to be the reliable backbone of your army, and they're just so incredibly good. With their gaining plus attack every age you go up, that means their halberdiers in the Imperial Age have 13 attack total, which means they absolutely destroy any mounted units. So really, if you manage to get yourself into a situation where you can just spam infantry, that's your best option. You do need to back it up with some other units, but infantry are always going to be your go-to. The champions have 20 attack in the Imperial Age, which is absolutely insane, and they beat out most every other Civ's infantry easily without question. So they're not necessarily the best civilization, but it's really only due to their lack of an eco bonus early on. In team games on maps that guarantee long games such as Black Forest and Team Islands, the Burmese are a big powerhouse civilization that proved to be a big threat every time you face them. Black Forest is certainly their best map in my opinion. Team games where it's going to go long, you got good trade going, that's where you're going to be able to shine and get some good work done. So in terms of a 1v1 Arabia Civ, they always prove to be an average, low B tier civilization, high C tier. They're not necessarily your greatest option because, like I said, eco bonus. They do have some interesting defensive buildings. They do have access to all the towers and everything. You can set yourself defensively if that's how you want to play it. But really, you don't have a very reliable, cheap option to go for early on. You got to reach the Imperial Age for your infantry to be at their best. And the free upgrades on their lumber camps are, they're nice, but a lot of units are so gold intensive that your economy is not going to be helped a lot by that bonus, and you're just going to be put under strain the entire time. So just going to keep that in mind. So the Rambai are beyond inaccurate, but certainly amazing to use in Castle Age in large numbers. So in some matchups the Burmese do quite well, but civilizations such as the Vietnamese and Goths, who can just easily run over the Burmese with their strong archer options, are just going to give them a hard time. So there you have it. That's all you need to know about the Burmese and what they can do. I personally enjoy playing the Burmese quite a lot. I think they're kind of underused in ranked play in my opinion. I enjoy them on Arabia sometimes, just kind of depending on how I'm feeling. I always forget to get my lumber camp upgrades most of the time, so having that for free really helps. But that's all for this video, guys. I hope you found this helpful and enjoyed.